You are listening to
The Free Amigos.
Hey, I'm Casper.
I'm Mark.
And I'm Tony.
This is Season 2, Episode 6 of the Free Amigos podcasts. And as always, we're going to go over and to see who we've got on the panel with the rest of the Amigos. And we've got Mark there. How are we doing, Mark? In Langley, is it?
Yeah, all good, mate. As we said, looking forward to Christmas, going back to Wales for a week from next week. So, yeah, can't wait. Getting in, everyone around here is getting in the spirit of Christmas and putting all the lights up. And, yeah, it's probably my favourite time of year. They're all good.
Yeah. Awesome. Couldn't agree more, mate. And Casper in Indonesia on that tropical island of yours. What are you doing over there?
Hey guys.
How's it going, my friend?
Yeah, all good. Well, not much Christmas here, of course, on a Muslim island, but yeah, it's a bit different.
What's Christmas?
Yeah. No, but the good thing is that with the expats here and all that, people have been ordering Christmas lights online, so we get a little bit of the feeling. But yeah, I was just thinking, like, I envy you a little bit here, because I used to love it to decorate the tree as a child and all that, and the snow and that kind of stuff. We don't have that here, but it has this cozy feeling, right? And so I miss that a little bit, because here it's just raining and raining and raining. It's becoming even a problem here that we got landslides from the volcano. So it's a bit weird situation here, not so tropical anymore at the moment. But I'm still here and loving it.
Christmas.
Still loving it, yeah.
You just dye that nice beard of yours white, Casper.
Yeah.
Don a red suit.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe I should put some I'll put some Mariah Carey in the background of this edit.
That's it.
Santa Claus.
Santa Cass is coming. Awesome. But anyway, finally, introducing our fabulous guest today. We've been trying to get onto the podcast for what seems ages. We keep missing one another, but we finally, all stars have aligned, and we have him on today, Mr. Ruan Davey. Where are you coming in from, Ruan, my friend?
Hey guys, really good to be with you guys today. Checking in from Dubai.
Awesome.
Which is really nice. It's beautiful at this time of the year. The weather's perfect. 24 degrees, middle of the day, which is great. So we don't have snow, but we've got really, really nice weather. And we're also looking forward to Christmas, similar to Mark as well. So yeah, it's all good, and looking forward to the holiday season ahead.
I love, and maybe you don't know this, but we realized a couple of weeks ago that we started every podcast with the weather. I'm really,
it's our running theme now.
Really happy that you just took that tradition, because we all try to just move away from that. You just went 24 degrees. This is the weather forecast. Tomorrow it will be sunny, and
right. Well, Ruan wins the weather watch today by far.
Right.
Of course, Dubai is obviously Muslim as well, but they would celebrate Christmas over there, and celebrate all kinds of different, all different kinds of festivities, I suppose, aren't they, around this time of year?
They do, and I guess it's because there's so many expats living here that they cater for that. But if you walk into the shopping centres, the shopping malls, you honestly wouldn't say it's a Muslim country. Christmas decorations everywhere, kids at their festive day at school last week. So yeah, people are gearing up for Christmas, even though we're in the middle of a Muslim country. So Christmas spirit is definitely,
quite progressive, sure. Isn't it? Yeah, fabulous. It's nice for the kids, like I say, because
it is good. Yeah.
For me as well, personally, it's all for the kids really, and making sure they enjoy themselves and getting in the festive spirit, and
exactly.
Believing as long as they can believe for. Bring it out. As they get older, it's getting harder and harder each year. But yeah, it's I'm going to string it out as long as I possibly can. If they don't believe, I certainly do anyway.
I was telling you guys a little bit earlier, we were going to bring out the Christmas elves this evening. We haven't had the Christmas elves for a little while, for a year now. And we're very late this year. Normally we bring them out beginning of December. So the kids are getting a little bit nervous that we're going to miss a very important tradition for Christmas. So they're looking forward to that as well tonight.
Awesome.
Elf
Hopefully.
on the shelf.
Elves on the shelves.
That is part of the tradition as well, like postponing it. And what we have with the Sinterklaas in Holland is that he comes with the boat every year.
Oh, he comes in by boat, not a sleigh.
Yeah, no, he comes by boat because he comes from Spain. Yeah.
Not quite as magical, is it?
Awesome.
No, it's always the main happening when he comes into or Amsterdam or a different city. But the thing is that every year is there's some problem with the boat, and so maybe they're not coming this year. And exactly what you just said with the elves on the shelves there is if you have misbehaved, they're not coming to you. And so for us here, when we celebrate, well, okay, are they coming all the way from Holland to Indonesia? And on what day and how? They can't fly now with coronavirus. So we had to make up all kinds of weird stuff on like how they're going to do it this year. And then postponing, and no, they're not going to come this year.
Build up anticipation.
Yes.
Yeah.
They made it. They made it in time, perfectly in time. Yeah.
Awesome.
So what was it? Did you want to mention the theme for today, Tony?
Yes. So with Ruan, we try to have a topic for each of our guests, and I boiled it down to sort of 3 Ds for Ruan in the time that we've known him for the last 12 months. Yep. He epitomises 3 things for me, and that's desire, drive and determination, and being a dad. I think those fully sum up Ruan and his personality and what he's all about for me. And Ruan, if you could just take us back and just give us a bit of a bio about yourself, and because obviously you've travelled around, you've done various jobs, and you've got your family now settled in Dubai for several years, but you're obviously not from Dubai, as people will recognise from your accent. So just give us a bit about your backstory.
We moved to the Middle East about 15 years ago, my wife and I. I'm originally from South Africa, and she's originally from Namibia. I actually grew up very, very traditional Afrikaans as a young kid, and could hardly sort of speak a word of English. And I remember in Standard 1, my dad said, listen, we're all going to move to the UK, because I come from an Afrikaans and an English kind of blended family. So my dad's side, very traditional English, British English, and my mom's side, very traditional Afrikaans, Dutch. And so he was saying we're all going to be moving to the UK to get away from all of this apartheid stuff that's happening in South Africa. And so I had to do a crash course in English. And I remember my gran teaching me over December holiday many, many years ago how to speak English. So we all went from Afrikaans schools into English schools, and it's quite funny actually. I remember the first day at our new English school in January the following year. The teacher, for some reason, had told the class that there was an American family coming to the class. So when she said, "Here's the new kid, his name is Ruan," everybody put their hands up like, "Come sit next to me, come sit next to me."
Thinking you're American.
And I chose a guy thinking I'm American, and of course I couldn't even speak English properly.
Surprise!
Americans can't speak English properly, so yeah.
You had that in common.
Makes sense.
But while I was studying, I was doing quite a lot of entrepreneurial stuff. Like I'd go into all the neighborhood countries, Botswana, Zambia, Zimbabwe, Malawi, all these kind of places, go to markets and stuff like that, and look at trading, look at bringing leather bags and all kinds of stuff back in South Africa. So by the time I was kind of 19, 20, I had my own imports, exports business with bringing the stuff in from Southern African countries to South Africa. I was selling stun guns to the military and the police. I was just basically doing all kinds of weird stuff to...
How did that come around? How would you even... you know what, today, I'm going to sell stun guns to the police. How would you even do that?
Well, this is it. So back then in those days, South Africa was a really interesting place, and obviously this was shortly after, or just before Nelson Mandela got released as well. And the police were getting their stun guns from military companies, importing these things from companies like America. But then when sanctions started happening in South Africa, all the suppliers of these kind of military stuff just ended. And I had this friend in Zimbabwe that could supply me stun guns. So
as you do.
Don't we all? Don't we all have a friend like that?
So it was quite good. But yeah, it was interesting. And then, as I said, went through, studied architecture, continued kind of working pretty much every kind of job I could get my hands on. So barman, waiter. I had a student loan as well that I needed to pay off. So I was getting all of these jobs to kind of make ends meet, working, studying at the same time. And then eventually finished about 5 years later. And then I got to the point where I needed to find a job as an architect. Dubai was absolutely booming. I mean, this was the place to be back in those days for construction. There was cranes all over the place. It was really exciting. And it was just an opportunity to take my sort of career to the next level. And it became much more my role. I became a director for architecture for the Middle East region. So I started looking after a much larger team. I wasn't involved in design so much anymore. I was much more focused on resourcing, utilization, financial targets, this sort of thing. And with that sacrifice, it became a little bit further away from my passion, which was design, architectural design at that point.
Creative part, right?
The creative stuff, part of architecture, and at the same time, I was doing a lot of business travel to other countries, to Qatar, to Saudi Arabia, to the Philippines, and bringing the work home on weekends. And I just got to this point where, I'd been working for 4 years in Abu Dhabi, came back to Dubai, then went into the position of management, but I wasn't seeing my family. In the meantime, Alexa was born, first baby girl was born, and Brookie was born 3 years later. And I really felt like I was missing out on spending those important quality moments with them as a father. And my shift changed completely from the time that we had kids. My focus became much less about work and it became much more about my kids and my family. And it's interesting how that happens. But and it was frustrating me because I kind of felt I needed to do what I was doing because I'd worked my way up this kind of corporate ladder. We were earning a decent enough income, so I was able to support the family. And there was a certain expectation as well, but I wasn't loving what I was doing anymore. I was really getting to the point where I was just not fulfilled. So it got to a point eventually where I just kind of decided enough was enough. I need to make some dramatic, major changes. And I'd been looking around for options. I was arbitraging a little bit on Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, stuff like that, doing a little bit of trading here and there. But I was looking for something more, and I was looking for something to stimulate me as well, a way that I can have more freedom and flexibility. And at that point, I knew very, very little about the digital economy in general. I wasn't very tech savvy. Didn't have a lot of money to kind of spend on re-educating myself, and I was nervous, but I knew I needed to do something. So I decided to go for it. And
So what have you got now? You build an online business. You are a digital entrepreneur at the moment. So what kind of business have you set up?
I didn't really know coming into this what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to get out of the situation I was in, but I didn't know exactly what that looked like. And so going through the basic understanding of affiliate marketing, e-commerce, which is something that I had done 20 years prior with this imports business I had in South Africa.
So you're selling stun guns online now, basically. Or did you move up to AK-47s?
International arms dealer now.
Thanks.
I think the short answer, Kaz, is that my focus is going to be, or is at the moment, affiliate marketing.
All right.
And the longer term plan is to use that kind of education to move into other affiliate areas and potentially also e-commerce as well.
And that is sufficient at the moment for you have your job as an architect, right?
Yes, I didn't have the luxury like a lot of people do just to quit your 9 to 5 and still, move across.
Burn those bridges.
I had to do it a different way. Like
the reason why I ask is because what Tony started the call off with your desire and being a dad, and you give the quite obvious good reasons of spending more time with the family and all that. But if I see it, and of course people that listen to the podcast can't see it, but if I see the sparkle in your eyes when you talk about creativity in architecture, it sounds like that's still your passion there.
Yeah. So 100%. I love design. I love architectural design. I love creating some buildings, and I want to kind of keep that up. And one of the ideas I have eventually is to create some short courses as part of what I'm doing, digital short courses, teaching people basic skill sets on how to sketch, how to draft, how to use some of the softwares, potentially even selling some of the softwares online as well as an affiliate, and coming up with some tools for people that are not specifically architects but are looking to do decoration to their house, interior decoration, changes, modifications, all that kind of stuff. So I want to keep up that side of things, definitely.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like,
that's fantastic.
You kind of gone through this journey as we all started out on it about a year ago, I think it was. But the thing that sort of stands out for me about your journey is, you kind of touched on there, becoming, the affiliate marketing space, setting up a digital business, but it's not as easy as it sounds necessarily. And I think a lot of people find this, it's like, okay, follow the steps, set up this affiliate business, and at some point, financial and time freedom, etc., whatever that means to you. But I think for a lot of people, it's more challenging than they perhaps think when they start out. And sort of what stands out for me about you is that you have made it work, and it's quite rare in a sense. I want to sort of discuss, why that might be, but you're also balancing this quite intense job as well that takes up a lot of your time, and the family side as well. And then you're building this business on the side. So I just wonder, what is there something you could touch on that's enabled you to make a success of this journey, as well as everything else that you've got on? Is it down to time management for you? Is it kind of do you feel that you've got a particular sort of passion or drive to make this work? And so what is it for you that kind of makes a difference, do you think, when you're balancing all these things to make that extra business work?
You touch on time management. It's definitely an important part. I mean, you've only got 24 hours in a day, and the choice is really, what are you going to do with those 24 hours? And everybody procrastinates. That's normal. But what I try to do is kind of keep the procrastination to a minimum, and focus on. I'm the type of person who quite enjoys drawing up lists of things to do, and it sounds a little bit kind of like tedious doing that, but it's the way that I get things done. So, because in the beginning it was really quite tough. I had like 2 or 3 hours a day. Tony, you're in the same position as well. Mark, I know you're in the same position, where you had 2 or 3 hours maybe in the evenings for reskilling yourself, and you've got your full-time job.
Yeah.
It's become a little bit easier now that I'm actually running a business, or starting to run an affiliate business, because things are a little bit more automated and things are starting to happen on themselves. But the setup process and that education was really intense. And I would literally be up until 12 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock with my normal work, and then till 12 o'clock with the affiliate work, and then go to bed and repeat the cycle. But I think for me, as I said, it was about just being very focused on what it is I was doing at that particular point in time. So if I'm spending time doing something on my day job, then I needed to focus on that and not kind of think about anything else.
Yes, be present.
That might cause distraction. And if I had those 2 hours in the evening to do the education, I would just focus on that and kind of exclude everything else. And so you try and maximize the little bit of time that you had available. But it was tough. And I mean, I got to a point where my wife was like 6 months in saying to me, when are we going to start seeing some sort of...
We all get that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up, Ruan, because that's something saying. It's just Mark saying, like, with the balance of your day job, but obviously you've got a beautiful wife and 2 beautiful daughters too, who obviously you want to spend time with as well. And like I said, there's only 24 hours in the day. How has that affected your family life? And
there is a certain irony going on there. It's when you say to your wife or to your partner, like, hey, I want to spend more time with you, I'm going to do this, and you spend no time at all with them.
Yeah, it is the massive irony with this, is that you do it because you want time freedom.
The investment part there.
But then that's the one thing you sacrifice at the beginning.
Exactly, and I think, you spot on, Tony, but I think for me it was like, and I think for you guys as well, it's a question of, it's a short-term sacrifice for a long-term gain, and you need to go through that process.
Yes, 100%.
To get to the other side, and there's never really another side, because we're always moving towards some sort of a goal, right? We never reach the destination, but at least that journey of those 6 months with education, I knew that was going to be painful, but I knew I needed to do it, and we all did it, right? We've all gone through that process. So and I think that was difficult, because I had to literally, the little bit of time that I had left to spend with the family and my wife, it was like quite a struggle, a mental struggle dealing with that.
Some interesting conversations with your wife, no doubt.
Yeah. But now it's really nice though, because the position that I'm in now, obviously this year has been great with working from home as well. But now I'm in the position where I can actually get my daughters to help me with stuff. So if I'm doing something business related, I can actually give them little tasks and get them involved as well in the process. And, that's the way you can spend time with them at the same time as actually...
That's fantastic.
Can you give an example on task? Because that's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for example, when I'm shooting a YouTube video, for example, They both have LumaFusion on their iPads. So I use LumaFusion for the video editing. Alexa will, for example, search for music. I'll tell her what sort of music I'm looking for, and she'll go and search for it. And Brooke will actually help me with editing the titles. They've done like little tutorials. So she'll
and how much are they per hour?
It's not slave labor. It's yeah. I'm not forcing my kids to work, but no.
No. I fully understand. No, but this is a really great thing.
That's fantastic.
I love that, because what you do now is you combine your business with your family time.
Yeah.
And as long as the kids like it, right? If as long as it's got like passionate and all that kind of stuff. I really loved it. Great example.
Yeah, it is a constant work, isn't it? To be present, where it's like, okay, playing with the kids now, and to be fully focused on that, instead of the mind will have a tendency to drift off into thinking about the stats for your ads or whatever it might be. And then, or vice versa, like I find this a lot, is early on being in work, the day job that pays the bills, and yet my mind is thinking about the next ad I want to create, or, doing some amendments to my website. And so you've really got to be careful to be present on what you're doing at that one time, isn't it? Because the business, because you're enjoying it and you're passionate about it, your mind is thinking about it a lot, isn't it? And if you're kind of out for a meal with your wife and kids, it can be a battle to be present with them, rather than thinking about your next task on the business, isn't it?
Yeah. No, it's very true, Mark. And it is definitely something that I'm still struggling with, is this kind of getting your mind present on those moments when you are with them, the quality time that you have with them. As I said, I still battle with that. So it's kind of a never-ending thing, I think. But what I've started doing recently is just trying to disconnect from, because the work is always going to be there. The stuff that I need to do never ends. There's always that thought about wanting to be the better dad, or having to shoot a YouTube video. And if I shoot this YouTube video, then there's going to be another one to shoot tomorrow. So it's going to continue. But that little precious moment of going outside for a bicycle ride with my daughter, or going for the dinner with my wife, that's happening now. It's not going to be repeated tomorrow. So I've tried to kind of train myself a little bit to really just focus on those moments, and actually switch my phone. What I do is I disconnect from the social media as well. So I just either put my phone on silent when I'm out with them, or disconnect completely from Facebook and things like that for that hour or 2 hours, because it's precious and that doesn't come back.
Yeah. Love that. Absolutely love that. I think it's a really important thing. So what you're doing is you really make different chunks in your life, and you really say, okay, you make quality over quantity there. When you are working on your business, you're working on your business, fully focused on that. When you're working on your work, whatever it is, you work on that. When you're with the family, that's the thing that you're doing. And I think that's a really, really great thing. I just came back from the beach, and I went to the beach to work, but we had like this beautiful view on Bali, basically. We could see Bali from here, and the volcano and the sunset. And I just decided, no, I'm going to fully 100% focus on the beauty of this sunset. No laptops, no phones, no one around me. I'm going to sit on this chair, and I'm going to listen to the waves, and I'm going to fully get everything that is in this moment, because it's a sunset. So it's in an hour, it's gone. And then the funny thing is that some people joined me, and after 10 minutes, they started looking on their phones again.
Not appreciating what's in front of their own eyes, not what's in their hand. Yeah,
exactly. And I think that's really good what you do there. When you like really say, okay, this is my focus is here in this project, my focus is there on that project, and family is even a project. But well, it is. It's one of the most. It's the most difficult of all the projects, raising a family, and you really focus on that and enjoying that moment. I love that. Yeah,
it is, and on that as well. Obviously, 2020 has been the oddest year in my lifetime, as I'm sure you all agree. It's just been a bonkers 12 months that the whole world has experienced with the COVID pandemic. The way that's a lot of people have to pivot in their jobs and their careers and how they work. And like, no, for all of us, like obviously we live in this digital lifestyle, that we've all been fortunate that we've all been able to work from home and continue working. Like Casper freelancers, I know Ruan, you've been working from home, Mark as well since the beginning of the year, myself since March. How have you found that? Has that been a struggle, or has that been a blessing to you then, Ruan, working from home? And so you've had your family locked down, your girls were off very soon on, weren't they, back in March, and homeschooling. How have you found that experience this year?
For me, it was great. It's a major change from my previous lifestyle for the last 18 years. And it gave me the opportunity of doing exactly what I spoke about earlier, which is spend time with my kids. You know, they've been around the house, they've been, and sometimes it becomes a little bit of a difficult one because you've got a meeting with the client or whatever, and you got your kids wanting to come and show you the school project.
Or you were recording a podcast and someone comes in, Daddy, we make you a coaster. Remember that, Daddy?
Yeah, exactly. No, that's totally it. But I think the nice thing about working from home for me has been that I've been able to be a lot more efficient with my time. I found that when I was working in the office, I would have my staff or people coming up to my desk constantly asking me, kind of random conversations, arbitrary conversations about this or that, a lot of small talk in the office and the gossip and whatever. And it's just a waste of time, to be honest. And those are the pockets of time that I can use much more efficiently working from home.
And the travel.
And the traveling is huge, completely, yeah.
That was for me, when I was thinking, now you say this, I was thinking about like back in the days when I had to travel from 6 a.m. and I got back at like 11 in the evening for a 1 hour meeting in London.
Yeah, exactly.
So like a full day spent on all kinds of traveling. Well, I loved it though, because I was not working, I was traveling, I was in an airplane. Yeah, but it was not efficient.
No, it's a loss of wasted time there, isn't it? And obviously you've not had the commute now. I'm not sure how long your commute was into Dubai, Ruan, but you've obviously saved in time there, aren't you? That you're now to be more productive with that.
Yeah, 100%. So like I said, that commute to Abu Dhabi was an hour and a half plus an hour and a half, so 3 hours a day, which was really intense. But the commute to Dubai now was about 35 minutes and 35 minutes. So that in itself, more than an hour's drive, which is quite a big chunk out of your day. I still take the kids to school because they're back at school now. They're on holiday at the moment, but they went back to school in September. So my wife and I take turns. She'll take them 2 days of the week. I take them 3 days of the week. So that's a drive. But now I can do stuff like listening to my podcast on the way back or listening to audiobooks or something, And I'm using my time more efficiently. I didn't know about these things. I was quite naive. About I knew about audiobooks, but I didn't really spend time on listening to audiobooks on personal development and stuff like that, or on affiliate marketing, for example, whatever it might be. So, I'm using those pockets of time to do stuff.
So what you kind of do is like when you procrastinate, you're using it.
Yeah. Well,
right. So procrastination, of course, is always we always see that like, okay, you suddenly start scrolling Facebook or watching YouTube stuff, but you can also watch YouTube stuff on setting up your business. And that's how you use it now.
The problem that I find with procrastination is, and I'm really guilty of this, is when you've got something to do and you say to yourself, right, so I'm gonna do a quick tutorial on how to edit a video on LumaFusion, for example. And then obviously there's so many YouTube videos that come up, and then you start getting diverted. You see one that catches your eye and you go, let me watch this.
Look at this little puppy.
YouTube wormhole, don't you? Yeah. 2 hours have gone by.
Suddenly you're following a cooking class.
Even there, I've kind of got into the habit now of becoming much more conscious about realizing that's happening. Before it would happen. Yeah. Right. And an hour would go by, 2 hours would go by. Now I actually, okay, hold on a second, I'm wasting time. I've got to get back onto this because I've got to get that done.
Yes.
Great one. So you really got your mindset, you got your own mind under control here. Because the thing here, what I'm thinking about a lot is the difference between your own thoughts, right? So you've got the child in you, you've got a mother and a father in you, so your own thoughts, right? And the child is just always going, no, I want to watch Netflix, I want to watch YouTube, and I don't want to work, and blah, blah, blah. And then The father in you goes like, no, we need to work, we need to get money. And the mother in you says, clean up your room. And these conversations within you are really, really complex, actually, and really difficult. I had one just as a little anecdote today where I was in my bed, sleeping in, thinking, no, you should work. And I was so ashamed of my own way of using my time, not getting out, come on, work, that I wanted to sleep in. So I got myself in a loop of like, And so you got this really well under control, your own voices in your head, and your own thought patterns there, so that you actually do the thing that you have to do.
I'm quite I would call myself quite a disciplined kind of a person, and I like a little bit of routine. I love adventure and I love doing stuff which is new and I haven't done before, but I do like the routine of understanding what I need to do for the next day, because I find I just become more productive in doing that. So I'll develop myself like a morning routine calendar. It won't be the same every morning. So Sunday, Tuesdays and Thursdays will be the same morning routine calendar, days I take the kids to school. But then on a Monday and a Wednesday, I do something completely different. You've got that variation, but at least I know what I need to do for the next day, so I can kind of plan it in my mind and get mentally ready for it.
Perfect balance.
It almost becomes like a habit then, doesn't it? Like you're all on autopilot almost on those days. You know what you're going to do. You just get on and do without... Something with me, if I overthink too much, then that can lead to procrastination. It's like overthinking, indecision. But if you got a routine, you got a list. Like I wake up most mornings, have a gratitude routine, and then I think, right, what's the plan for today? I'd like try and pick sort of 2 or 3 things I want to accomplish today, and hopefully get them done every day. Then journal that on the evening to see whether I've done them. Yep. If not, they roll over onto the next day to do.
Yeah.
And then do you set those goals in the morning or in the evening before?
A little bit of both, depending on what's on the schedule for the next day. But sometimes I'll maybe make a note of or right when I'm journaling down on the evenings, thinking, right, what do I need to get done tomorrow, and what I'd like to get done tomorrow. Because sometimes they might be mutually exclusive, depending on what's on the schedule. So I like Ruan, that you obviously worked on. You'll say you sound like you're a disciplined person anyway. There's another D to your bow, and also the fact your personal development as well. It seems like you've come a long way in this last sort of 12, 18 months as well on that. Want to talk a bit more about how that's come on for you as well?
Yeah, definitely. I always knew there was something not right and I wanted more from life and all of this sort of stuff, but I couldn't really put my finger on what it was. And you start thinking about your why, your how, what your purpose is, what your vision is, and stuff like that. Really got me thinking the ideal day and things like that, visualizing all of that. It really opened me up and worked me to possibilities. And pretty much from then I realized quite quickly that to do this properly, there's always going to be 2 parts to this journey. It's going to be the technical kind of side, which I knew, even though I didn't know much about the technical side, I knew I could kind of could do that, but just go through the process, trust the process. But it was the mental side, which was new to me. And I needed to train myself to take the time to sit down and meditate in the mornings, which I've been doing, plan my goals for the next 3 months, 5 months, and a year and so on, and then really start to question what it is I want from this and why I want it. And that's really helped me to keep me on track, to be honest, because I keep going back to that. So I've got my vision board up on the wall, and I look at that when I walk into the office in the morning. I meditate about that in the mornings for a couple of minutes, do my future self meditation. All of these things are really helping, I think, to kind of just focus me on where it is that I'm actually going. What is the purpose of all of this that I'm doing? It's not just for the sake of doing something. It's actually, there's a real purpose behind it now, which is great. It's a really good feeling, and it's a change from the way I felt a year or 2 years ago and the way I used to do things. So it's been great. I've been reading quite a lot of books. I've tried to sort of read at least one personal development book every month, on either hard copy or audio books, which has helped as well. Listening to a lot of podcasts and stuff like that in those off times, like I say, where you're driving back from school. So collectively, these things have really helped. And the nice thing now is, with the position that I'm in with my members, the new members that are joining as well, it's what I tell the guys is like the most important thing, is getting that inner part right. understanding what you really want from this. The rest of the stuff will fall in place automatically. And I think that's where some people might go wrong, is that they're coming to something like this chasing money or chasing an end goal, but they forget to do that inner work. And once the inner work is in place, the rest of the stuff just falls into place. So for me, it's a work in progress, but I'm really loving the journey so far.
Having said that, what is your vision board? Can you explain in audio what's on your vision board? You said you have a vision board. What's up there?
So basically, it just talks about where we want to live one day, and the situation with our family, and
but what is it? Where do you want to live one day? What's the situation with your family?
The interesting thing about the vision board, the one that's up on the wall, actually needs to be updated because it's changed. And this is the other interesting thing, is when I've still got the old one up there. But when I started and I wrote down my ideal day, we wanted to be in Canada, and
wow,
which would have been a major change for us in so many different ways. But now we're happy in the UAE. We're quite happy in the UAE, and we've realized that this is actually home. And I've realized that through the process. My kids have got friends here, they've got interactions there, they were born here. This is life for them, right? But as long as I've got that geographical freedom to be able to go to places like Canada, if we want to go there, spend time there, or go to South Africa and spend time there, go to Australia, I don't necessarily have to live in those countries. So for me now the dream is just to have enough time to spend with the family, to do things that I find, spend time on adventure, to travel to other countries, and not to be tied down to a 9 to 5. And it's quite a simple dream compared to what we had before.
That's a perfect dream. It's basically what and this is quite hard to put down in a vision or a mission board. It's like you basically saying, so I want to have like a certain stable situation and a home where the kids are at home and where we live as a family, with the possibility of going wherever we want to go.
Yeah.
Right. That's basically the thing. Yeah. And it's quite hard to visualize because you can't just put a picture on the wall of a villa in Canada. No. You don't want to have that villa. You want to have the concept of being.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Yeah, no, sure. I mean, for me, my ideal day would be waking up in the mornings and kind of doing a quick plan and trying to figure out what I want to do for the day, but having time to spend on my hobbies. So that means going for a mountain bike cycle, doing some drone photography. I love photography. It's one of my passions. And then spending time with the kids and the family, and then doing a little bit of business as well, and talking to your members and encouraging them. So those are the sort of elements to me that would make a perfect day. And it's not location bound. It could be anywhere in the world. It could be in the UAE. We're happy in the UAE right now. One of the things we really love doing is travel. Like, we absolutely love traveling. My wife and I used to travel a lot before we had our kids. And it's something that I got out of the habit of doing since we had our kids. And that's what we want to go back to. I want to be able to take them to places like Indonesia, to Thailand, to Bali, and stuff like that.
I think that there's quite a similar situation as what I got, like a really strange balance, because you are creative, and creatives, they need new impulses. They need to see new things. They need to be inspired. And so you want to have the freedom of traveling and see new stuff. And on the other hand, you are really systematic.
Yeah, it's true.
Really
that's
systematic.
True.
And those things are quite difficult to combine. So how can you get the systematic thinking, which you're all really good at, to create the freedom of the unknown, basically? Because the unknown is the non-systematic, of course, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the balance that you're at the moment, I think, right?
I think you're right, Casper. It's so I love the idea of like an adventure, something completely new. But I always need to know that at the end of that, I'm going to come back to the normal world that I love.
Security.
I couldn't see myself. I couldn't see myself backpacking for 5 years with my family doing that. I want to do a little trip to somewhere. You know what I mean?
And this is why I love this conversation, because I just said what I want to have is a stable home somewhere, because I didn't have a stable home for 8 years. I was just not backpacking, but traveling, exploring. Well, I want to have a home and then say, okay, I'm going to travel. I'm going to do I'm going to explore the North Pole for 3 months and then I come back. That kind of thing, right? And I think you're quite similar to that. That's a systematic and creative balance.
Yep. That's my kind of travelling as well. Having a base, like you say, and then go off and explore. Like, for me, I want to get to a point where I'd love to be able to say to my wife and girls and say, like, the 6 weeks of the summer holidays, right, we're going off for the whole 6 weeks somewhere on a bit of an adventure. Pack our bags and just go.
You got a behind you there, Tony.
What's that? Yeah, I got my globe.
In your background. You got
the globe. We want to go.
Woohoo!
And that's my big vision and dream, is to be able to have that ability to sort of pack your suitcases, pack my laptop, go off on an adventure for 6 weeks and not return home until the girls go back to school in September. But being able to have the ability to still be able to work wherever we may be during those 6 weeks. That for me is sort of nirvana. It's perfect. That's where I want to get to.
You both touched the opening subject really well as well, because that's being a dad.
Yes.
Both of you, all three of you, and all four of us, basically, the thing that, well, I don't have a child, but if I would have a child, I don't really want them to go to school, as in, school is nice, la la la. I want them to show them the world. And that's why we create that freedom, to show them the world.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Agree.
There's so much to learn from just seeing things with your own eyes, and just like you say, all the different countries, cultures, creeds, just the amount of education you can get from those travels and experiences, just from the places I've been. I said myself and my wife travelled a lot more before having kids. And even now, I say to my daughter, like Lydia, I say, look, when we saw Las Vegas on the TV the other night, I was watching some fights, one of the fights on the weekend, and I say, that's where Mommy and Daddy got married, and this is like, we've been there, and like, there's the Grand Canyon, it's just not far from there, and all these places.
Wait a second, did you get married in Las Vegas?
I did,
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The drive-through.
No. Just walk up. No, we got married in Las Vegas, but to be able to go, I said to him, like, I'd love to be able to take you to show you one day, show where Mommy and Daddy got married, and showing like the Grand Canyon and these amazing sights that the kids can see on the computers and their iPads and on the TV these days. It's all there. It's not like even when we were kids, where you'd get like the encyclopedia out when you're in a book and look at photographs, and it's so much more of a proliferation now with the internet that this information's everywhere, isn't it? There's an abundance of it, but you can't substitute seeing these and having this experience for your own eyes and own senses. For me, it's just be amazing to be able to do that, and I've got that desire a lot from that. I never went abroad until I was 17. We never went on holiday as a kid when I was growing up, because I come from a large family. And I've always had the desire that I want to see as much of this world until the day I die. I want to travel as much as I can and see as much as I can, and I want to give my kids that opportunity to do that as well. I think it just broadens the mind, it broadens the person, it expands the people's mind, their openness, and just to. And I think that helps with a lot of this day and age. I suppose it shouldn't be the case, but it is. But there's a lot of prejudice out there, racism. It's just, I think people are just not educated, and if I can do that one thing as a father and educate my kids in showing them that there is more to life than just the people they see on a daily basis, then I think it makes the world a much better place for everyone.
100%.
That is the dream, isn't it? With the whole passive income model, the idea of being able to earn money doing the things you love, isn't it? I think that's what drives us all, really. This idea of not having to be tied to an specific office location to earn money. And it is a new world that's forming, isn't it, where this kind of thing is possible. But you kind of touched on something that I thought was really interesting, is this whole idea of the inner work. And this is the sort of space that I'm sort of moving into now, which is I think, the technical stuff really is only about maybe sort of 20% of the journey. I think majority of people can learn that how to effectively market online. But as you said, the large majority of this journey and the dependence on whether you're going to be successful or not is the inner space, isn't it? In fact, I think it's more than that. I think it's probably 99% of the journey really is what's going on inside. Because why is it, for example, that somebody like yourself is having this success, and then somebody else with access to the same level of training is going nowhere? And it really is that inner work that is so vital. And, you know, I would even go as far to say is it's kind of beyond mindset almost. I think it's down to the energy really that you're putting out. And this is what I think I'm learning about now, is the energy that you're putting out is what is reflected back to you. So, you know, in Ruan's, and you know, you could probably pick up from Ruan's energy. He's almost like with Ruan, you get a sense that he already feels like a success on the inside. He's putting out energy that is positive, there's a high vibration, and people are responding to that. So, you know, the business that he's making is kind of reflecting back to him the energy he's putting into it. This is something I'm learning about now. So if you go into a business now, for example, and you're feeling insecure, you're feeling unfulfilled, you're feeling trapped, then what the business does is it kind of magnifies that. It sends it back to you in a similar way to what money does. What money does is not going to necessarily make you happy. What it will do is it will amplify whatever is already going on for you inside. You know, so for example, you see like a billionaire, they don't feel safe, they feel insecure. And what money does is it just amplifies that over. So they have to keep making more money, 1 million, 1 billion, 10 billion, whatever it is. So this is the thing I wanted to say. It's so important to get that foundation right, that inner game right. Get your own energy, whatever that means to you, meditation, healing yourself energetically, and then create the business, because that will then amplify the energy that you put out into it. So yeah, that's something that I've learned recently, and that's why I've gone from not so much focusing on the business at the moment. I'm trying to get my energy right, so when I create the business, then the right energy is going out and will hopefully be reflected back to me. It's just something that I'm learning about at the moment, and is worth thinking about, I think, for yourself. If someone's out there now and they think about creating a business, you know, what energy are you putting into the business? Because that's what's going to come back to you at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Mark. I think, so it took me a relatively long time to start marketing, but once I started marketing, I knew exactly what I needed. The foundation was built, and the desire was there, the willpower was there. So, and that's the other thing that this inner game helps you with, is to remain focused, because there are literally times where I wanted to throw my laptop through the window. Often.
Yeah.
Like you get that frustrated, and you guys know what I'm talking about. I mean, it gets like that, you know, and one of the things as an entrepreneur is you learn to basically get stuff done. Like, just if this doesn't work, then find a different way to get it done, or find another way to get it done. But you know it can be done if you just persist and find the solution. So, and this is where this mindset came in. If I took myself a year and a half ago as the person that I was back then, I would probably have given up by March of this year already. You know.
What were the things that were holding you back? So now we have a really positive conversation here. What were the things that went completely wrong?
Oh, Kaz, there was a lot of stuff, but so one of the things, my marketing, for example, when I started marketing in March, April this year, I really didn't have a clue about the statistical information on YouTube and on Google Analytics and stuff, how to set up a campaign. I just did the campaign, got it out there, and the campaign was running for about a week. And I was getting impressions. I was getting, not getting leads, but getting impressions and spending money without realizing it, because the date setting on my campaign was set to the wrong date. I didn't even know how to change the date. So I went on to Dan Holloway's webinar, and I said to him, Dan, it's been a week. This campaign is showing zeros across the whole campaign. Is there something wrong? And he said, Ruan, let's just look at it. We looked at it, and he said to me, just flick the date to the current date, and showed me where the date setting was, right? So stupid little things like that. But when you talk about what went wrong, I mean, learning how to use, how to do tracking on an advertising campaign, how to use Convertry, how to build a website, all of these sort of things, stuff that I knew absolutely nothing about, and how to set the C names on a domain so that they can see your one domain to a subdomain and stuff like that. This was Greek to me before I went through this process. But I struggled to kind of figure it out myself. I think the easier option would have been to say to someone, can you do this for me? or gotten someone that knows how to do it and just given it to them and said, build my website, I'm tired of doing this. But I kind of just went through that process, the painful process, to learn the skills.
But then, what was your inner, so your inner, like we talked about what Mark just said, what was your inner struggles?
Procrastination was a big one for me, as in wasting time thinking about stuff rather than just doing it.
Right.
Like debating about how should I do it, which method should I use, thinking about how perfect it needs to be, because I'm a little bit of a perfectionist.
How did you get over that?
Some of the stuff was theoretical training, and some of the stuff was podcasts that I'd looked at, and others was just realizing that, like, everybody was talking about this imperfect action, something that I didn't know much about before, but just kind of seeing the results of doing little things, and seeing that, yes, there were results, maybe not positive results sometimes, but results, like that YouTube ad, the first one that I got out. You know, I lost a little bit of money there because I didn't know it was running. If I didn't make that mistake, I might still not have had a campaign out there. So just kind of learn to throw yourself out and put the perfectionism side of myself a little bit aside. So that for me was a big one.
Did you ever have any doubts? Like, whether you could do it? Or were you always quite kind of confident? You know, the results came quite quickly, didn't they, for you, relatively, compared to most people?
They did, and you know, I had the leads came through very quickly. I had my first sale within 2 weeks. I had my first elite within a month, and then things started moving from there. But I think it's because I did the foundational work in the beginning. I remember in July, August, I'd had a good session before that with quite a few sales and stuff, and then there was a large dry spell with not much happening. And I was trying different things and tweaking the ads and tweaking the analytics and stuff, and nothing was really working. And I remember having the conversation with my wife saying, there's this visual picture in my mind of the mountain that you climb, and how close am I to the top of the mountain? I don't know where the top of the mountain actually is. Do I need to carry on, or must I give it up? Because I've spent a lot of money now already, nothing's happening. And she kind of said, just keep going, because you might be close to the top, you don't know.
Nice.
So yeah, I did have doubts, sure.
There's a financial threshold for everybody, I think, isn't there? I remember I hit one when I spent about $1,000 on my advertising with nothing back. And that was the point where I was like, I'm getting close to my edge. My wife as well is like, okay, there's a lot of money going in here, nothing coming back. Like, you know, and as I said, I touched on before, your results came quite quickly. I couldn't go to my wife and go, look at these sales here. Look at this elite. Look at this big sale that I've made, elite, you know. For me, it was like nothing. like tumbleweed, you know.
The well is dry.
Look at this empty sheet.
But that,
crickets in the background.
But that was good, because what it made me do was to go, what I'm going to do is stop that, because something in the foundation is wrong. Like compared to making a house, the foundation is weak here, you know. And so that's what I had to do. I had to go back to the start and go, okay, what's going on inside here that is not working out? Because I've got the technical, I'm doing the ads, firing out all these ads, emails all the time. Like I had no problem with putting the work in. Like I was putting everything into it, and yet nothing was coming back. So what was it in my energy going out that wasn't right, that wasn't matching yours? You know, where it's kind of a high vibration. My energy going out is whatever, for whatever reason, it's like a low vibration. So I've had to go back to working on myself energetically. Okay, healing myself energetically. Where are these blocks in my system? And I think you need to be prepared to do that, because really everyone starts this journey in a rush. Don't know, you know, it's like, oh, you know, I want this to happen
yesterday,
in 6 months, in a year. And even that seems like a long time when you start out. I think you get to a point where you go like, you know what, if this happens when in 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. And also I think, you know, the real wealth of this journey is not necessarily in the financial side. It is in this personal growth that happens. I think that is the real kind of reward that you start seeing, isn't it? You're like, wow, look at the person I was a year ago and look at me now. It's incredible, isn't it?
Well, that makes sense there, Mark, because the reason most of the time, and what we talked about here, is that we want to spend more time with the family. So whatever you do, it's not about the money. As we always say, it's like money can buy you a house, but it can't buy you a home. Right, so it can't buy you. Well, it can buy you. Money can buy you a doctor, but it can't buy you a house. Right. So if what you're doing now is kind of like okay, we do the money bit, and that's what everyone rushes in with. Oh, money. But the reason why they want to have the money is because they want to have a home, freedom, and so you kind of undercut that with what you're doing at this moment, Mike. I think.
Mark, there's something else you said as well, which is really true. Is one of the things that I found is as soon as I started getting my first members, and I started having that interaction with the members, that's when things really changed for me, because I started having people reflecting back what I was giving them. Up until that point, you're just putting information out there. And you don't know how people receive this, whether they receive it, whether it's positive, negative. But once people start giving you feedback and you realize you've touched someone's life and you've actually given them an opportunity to do what you're doing, and they start giving you this gratitude and saying, wow, thanks for this opportunity. It's really helped me to give me some hope for the future. Then it becomes quite powerful, because now you have an interaction with a live living person out there and you're making a change in someone's life. And that at that point is when I really started becoming more confident as well, as in, this is something that can actually work. I can do this. I can make an impact.
It gives you validation, doesn't it? Yeah, having that validation and feedback is not only, let's say, it gives you the validation that what you're putting out, the vibrations that you're putting out.
Well, that's like a physical representation of that.
Into the market, into the universe, being picked up.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost like, because also, did you have much in the way of negative comments as well? Because I remember a lot of people coming back saying, oh, I haven't got any money, or I think this might be a scam, or, I wonder if you had a lot of that as well,
No, I did definitely, and I still get, I've developed a couple of standard answers for things like I don't have money, and I don't have time, and it's a scam and all of that, because you get that. But by far, I'd say like 70 to 80% of the feedback's been positive, like really
that's high, isn't it? That's good.
And that's what drives you.
And that is a physical representation of the energy you're putting out, isn't it? You're seeing it come back in the way of emails. And, I was getting a lot more of the kind of, I've got no money. This scarcity was coming back a lot in the emails I was getting back. So I was like, that's interesting. Is that, without even knowing it, am I putting that energy out there? Because that's what's coming back to me.
Yeah.
So
apparently did. Apparently you were still a little bit scared of, is this going to work?
Exactly. I was like, this has got to work because I want to escape my job, or, I'm feeling unfulfilled in my job. This has got to work, to make me free or whatever.
And that will never work, of course. No. If you are like a coach, a football coach, a soccer coach, and you are the one going, I don't really know if this is going to work. How is the team going to react?
Oh, come on, we're going to win.
That's why you need to be the leader in that part and go, hey guys, this is what we're going to do, and this is how we're going to do it. Boom.
But not fake belief, not just saying it. You've got to believe, fully feel that you believe it. Yeah.
Really need to believe it. Hey, I want to ask a question, because we're going to get to the top of the hour here, if not way over. Tony started off this conversation with the 3Ds, and I want Tony, can you please give me the 3Ds again with a simple question on every D?
Okay. Ruan, the first D. The first one was desire. What is your burning desire? I know you probably read Think and Grow Rich, and that's one of the key things in there that Napoleon Hill mentions, that you've got to have a burning desire to succeed with anything you want in life.
For me, the desire was what I mentioned earlier, the desire to be able to spend quality time with my girls before it's too late. And the thought of not having that was kind of something that just really drove me forward.
Fuel on your fire, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that then leads nicely, like say, into the next D, which was drive / determination that you seem to have an abundance of. You're very throwing discipline as well. They're all into the mix there.
I am quite a driven person, and once I get my mind set on something and determined to kind of make a success of it, then I don't give up easily. I'll try 1,000 different ways until I find a way that works, but I will get it done.
Oh, was it Edison failed 10,000 times with a light bulb, electric light bulb? You've got that. From what I know, you definitely have that mentality. You'll just keep failing and failing until something works. And I love that you just got that never give up attitude about you. And finally, the biggest one for me is you being a dad and being a father to two beautiful girls. And you did look at the smile. Look, I know the folks at home can't see this, but he's just filled my screen with a massive smile that you just can't manufacture.
Such a beautiful smile. It's so amazing.
Yeah, it's the most important thing for me, guys. It's my family is the most important thing. As I said, my shift changed while I was in my career, very professional career up until Alexa was born. It was very much about career, making money, all these sort of things. But when she was born and Brooke was born, after that, the focus changed completely. And as they start getting older and you're able to interact with them and have little experiences with them, it's just so gratifying. I mean, it's nothing beats it. It's fantastic. I love it. I love being a dad.
Yes, it adds to the drive, doesn't it? That thing of, and also showing them, this is a big drive for me, showing my daughter that you don't have to live this life of feeling unfulfilled in a job, just for money. And that is a big drive for me to show her what's possible, as a human being. More than anything, it's like, look, you don't have to live an unfulfilled life doing this job that doesn't make you feel passionate when you wake up every day, just to pay bills. So they do add fuel to the fire, don't they, when they come along? It's like, okay, not for me anymore. There's somebody else who's looking up to me, and I've got a duty to kind of show the way forward in life. Yeah. Brilliant.
100%.
And I think in your case as well, Mark, is your daughter is teaching you.
Yes.
Maybe your daughter is teaching you more than you are teaching her.
Yes. Being in the moment. We always talk about that, don't we? You can't help but be in the moment.
Just jumping the puddles.
Jumping muddy puddles.
Yeah.
Love that.
Forget about what anyone else thinks.
What a great conversation this is, guys.
Yeah, brilliant. Awesome. Thank you, Ruan.
It's a pleasure, guys. Thank you so much for having me. It was awesome. I loved it.
No, just delighted to finally have you on the pod. We've missed it a few times, but yeah, it's been fascinating to hear all about you and get you on. Actually, just dive into who Ruan Davey really is. So really grateful to having you on. Thanks, Ruan.
Pleasure, guys.
I think it's really inspiring for a lot of people because we really could kind of box in how you get your motivation and how you get your determination right and set your mindset straight to where you actually want to go. I think that's a really valuable lesson that we learned today.
Yeah, there's been a lot of value come out of this.
I can just say it for myself. I'm going to watch this back. Well, I'm going to watch this back 100 times because I need to edit this whole thing. And I will listen to it and I will learn a lot from this call.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant, guys.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, guys. I think this is episode 6. We're going to do a wrap up next Monday for the year.
Yeah, and we'll be back next week.
Yeah, we'll wrap up next week for the year. And
that should be a great one. Looking forward to that.
Well, thank you, guys. It's been awesome. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Bye for now. Adios.
Adios.
Adios, amigos.
You have been listening to
The Free Amigos.
Hey there, hope you've really enjoyed listening or watching to the conversation today. And as promised, we have all the links to the topics discussed in the description below and also on our website.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, please feel free to hit that subscribe button or follow the link to our brand new website where you can sign up to our weekly newsletter.
Thank you for watching or listening. We hope you got something good out of it. If you've got any interesting topics you'd like us to discuss or any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch. And that's it. See you in the next pod. Adios.
Cheers.